Hi, hopefully you found me live on YouTube. I'm just going to double check to make sure that I am actually live. Slight issues with going live. I'm not used to doing this, so bear with me. Yay, hurrah, I seem to be live. Yay, hurrah, I seem to be live. Okay, good. All right, just needed to double check that. Thank you. Great. Hi. How are we all doing? Sorry about the mix up. I have not done many lives on YouTube, but I feel that this is something that I've got to do more of. This morning, the channel would not stop. It just wanted to go on and on and on at me about the things that I'm going to talk about today. Now, I have spoken about them before. So if it's repetitive or you've heard it before, I'm not going to apologize for that. The reason is the channel said that I am to keep speaking about this so that as many people can rehear this. Now, this really does depend on where you are in your journey, your awakening journey, where you are in how deep spiritually you are involved in that journey. And I'm going to explain spirituality because it's a pseudo term for so much nonsense that I just wanted to clarify. So welcome if you've just joined. Just let me know like where you're at, where you're watching from. And I am just going to put up I'm going to put up a link. So this is just if you'd like to buy me a coffee, that kind of thing. It allows me to do more of this work, okay? It allows me to be present here for you more of the time and give you more channel stuff, which I really, really want to do more of. Okay, so I want to talk about what spirituality is from my perspective, okay? Having worked in this field for a number of years and experiencing everything from North Carolina, amazing, so good to have you. So look, I'm going to give you this from my perspective. I've worked with thousands of people, right? I've worked with people from all stages of their awakening, from the very, very beginning when they're asking me what is grounding, what's an energy bubble, all the way to experienced channelers and healers, right? We are all of the same. We're getting the messages from the same place if we're using the cleanest methods of communication. And I'll explain that in a moment, okay? So spirituality for me is not a tarot card. Excuse the police car in the background. It is not going to yoga 2 or 3 times a week or laying there in front, for a gong, for instance. It's not that. It is not crystals. It is not any of those things. It's not grounding. That's not spirituality, okay? They are all tools that may contribute to you feeling more relaxed, more present. That is not spirituality, right? People are pushing so much nonsense out there. And I just really, really wanted to be clear about what I see as spirituality. Those to me are well-being. Those put you in a state, okay, in a sense of feeling that make you feel good. Right? Spirituality is connecting to the God inside you, is leading life from a centered place, from the messages, from the intuitive messages that you're hearing, the feelings, is taking responsibility for your actions. It's doing all of those things. Now, when I see a celebrity put up, I'm going to use Kate Moss, for example. Oh, I've had a spiritual awakening and these things are inspired. And I think she's called her brand Cosmos or something. I just want to vomit. I literally go, oh my God, that's ridiculous. Okay. So when you've got someone as a celebrity talking about, oh, here's a spray, this is going to make you feel great. It's got an intention in it. That's not spirituality. That's not spirituality. That's nonsense, right? There are so many celebrities out there that are pushing brands and things that they are masking as spirituality. Okay, Palo Santo, sage, that's not spirituality. Spirituality comes from here. It doesn't require any props. Okay, it doesn't require you to be external. And the thing about it is that people keep on pushing this. They keep on pushing it left, right, and center. And the channel this morning was like, you need to keep on pushing out that message. No matter how many times you've shared that this is not spirituality, you need to keep on doing this. Okay. Now, I was on a walk with a friend this morning and she was talking about a recent event that she went to. And I won't name the people because I don't think that's in the community that are doing what they're doing, because that's not any of my business. But what is my business is people talking about their journeys, talking about how they found spirituality, but they're not sharing the practice. They are not telling you the how, right? They are not, it's all well and good having a crystal. I've got crystals at home, right? They're everywhere, but I don't rely on them for myself. I used to have tarot cards. I used to have oracle cards. I used to rely on those to give me guidance. Okay. That's all nonsense. Some of you are going to say, yeah, but it helps me. It helps me validate what I'm feeling. Okay. If you have an inability to believe what you're feeling, you're dismissing God right there. I use the term God for universe, creator of all that is, source energy, however you relate to God. God is my easiest word because it exists inside of me, it exists outside of me, okay? It exists in each one of you. And that's how I relate to God. So spirituality, what is it? It's a dedication, a devotion to self. And I don't mean in an egoic way, right? Because unless you give that dedication, the discipline, the consistency to yourself, you will have an inability to apply that in anywhere in your life. Okay. I want you just to take a moment and think about what's going on in your life and how many inconsistencies and distractions and how many times you said you'd start something and you didn't finish it. Just think about that for a moment. The practice of self has of dedication to self, to devotion, has to come by you doing it for you. All right, to honor you before you go and do that new hobby, before you go on a weight loss journey, before you do anything else. Okay, because you are trying to focus on something that is not whole because you have not acknowledged this. Right. So the devotion and dedication to self is the acknowledgement of source energy, of universe, of creator of all that is, of God. Okay. If you think that lives somewhere up here or somewhere over there, you're wrong. It's everywhere. Okay. Starting right here. Okay. And there is something that I see quite a lot in the law of attraction, in the manifesting world, in the extremely religious world as well, is the begging, the praying. Please, God, let me have it. Please, God, let it come into my world. Please, God, give me this one thing and I'll be really good. Particularly when you become unwell, it's like, please, God, let me be well. And then I promise to live a real, wholesome life. Okay. The thing about this is I'm like, why are you begging to something outside of yourself when it exists inside? Right? The devotion to yourself. Now, I often in my soul school talk about 4 bodies. They're mental, physical, emotional, spiritual. Okay. That's where your devotion lies to this vessel, which you people generally physically abuse, maybe with alcohol, maybe with laziness, maybe with lack of movement, maybe with the thought processes, maybe with anything that you're consuming. That's not devotion. Okay, devotion of the highest. To be really clear on this, okay, I led a class the other week. It was finding your highest soulmate union. Okay, it was a soulmate attraction for high value women. Okay, and what I was saying with that is, if not everything, and this goes for everything, if all of your being is not aligned for it, you are not ready for it. Okay, if all of your devotion isn't aligned to your center, yourself, you're not ready for spirituality. Because when it comes, boy, does it come. It's huge, it's massive. It comes with such a bang that you cannot change it. You know, once you see the things that happen when you have an awakening, you can't unsee and unfeel them. They're so powerful, they're so big. The knowledge and wisdom that comes into your life is so vast. You just can't. You can turn it down and you can shut it down if you want to, but you know what? If it's meant for you, it's going to come again and again and again, just like it did for me. Okay. So what I'm trying to say here is when somebody's selling a beautiful pack of oracle cards, or they're saying, oh, here's the latest tarot card, and by the way, this includes calling yourself a witch. You are not witches, right? You are divine beings. That has no witchy energy in it. Right? I've laughed before and said, yeah, it's all witches, it's witches. We're not witches. That is low vibrational energy. Okay. So what you're looking for is a higher vibe, the divine essence of who you are. So if you're getting involved in witchy stuff, in tarots, in casting spells, in oracle cards, tarot cards, if you are into curses, that kind of stuff, hexes, that's not the highest divine energy. You're messing in satanic energy, right? There is only one aspect, and that is the cleanest divine that comes from inside of you. Okay. And it's really interesting when I was walking with my friend this morning, and this expression comes from her. She said, if this is spirituality, I don't want any part of it. And what she was talking about is people talking about the concepts of spirituality without the lived experience, without living it daily, without being responsible, right? And there is so many times I have read for people. I read energy, okay, and I don't do it from the kind of I do it from a perspective that's nourishing to you with practices that are going to help you. All right. Now, although I get them when I get people come on and say, oh, is this the right guy for me? I hate doing those. They're not, I've kind of asked my guides, asked God to send me the people that really need me. I'm not into that shallowness of is this the right guy kind of stuff, right? Surface level nonsense, right? We're talking about real, deep, nourishing spirituality where you are tending to self, okay? Now, I will hear again and again in sessions when I say something, yeah, I knew that. Yeah, I heard that. Yeah, my guides told me that. Yeah, I channeled that. Yeah, I journaled that. And I get really tired of hearing it. I'm really direct. I haven't got time for nonsense. I try. I am loving with my expression. However, there are going to be times where I need to be dead straight. Like, how long are you going to carry on doing this? How's that working out for you? Okay. But when people are telling me, oh, yeah, I heard that. Oh, I knew this. My intuition told me that. Why are you not doing it? Why are you not doing it? And that's always going to be my response. What's stopping you doing it? You're telling me you know the stuff. You're still not doing it. Okay. It's you against you. You're the reason you're not doing it. It's not because of a limited belief. It's not because of a block. It's not because of a past life. People are really interested. When I was talking to a client the other day, so you'll get this when I say this, and she said, I have moon circles. I said, great, okay. She said, I talk about the new moon and the full moon. And I said, I'm hearing you need to concentrate on the full moon. And she said, well, I really want to work with prevention. So the new moon energy is telling you what to look forward to in the month and how you can help yourself. And instead of the full moon, which is, oh, it's happened, shit got real, it happened, and people are learning how to deal with it. My channel was very succinct. It said it doesn't want you to be in prevention. It wants you to deal with the mess, to deal with where people are struggling, where people are experiencing, okay? Because if I said to you, learn to connect to yourself, learn to have a daily practice, learn to journal, right? Learn to meditate. Most people are going to be like, nah, don't want to do that. But if I said, I'm going to help you astral travel, or I'm going to take you to a past life, or we're going to jump dimensions, or we are going to quantum leap, there'll be a massive queue for it. Okay. But taking responsibility to have devotion is something that's massively missing. People do not do that. And if I'm going to take this to an angle where I'm going to get a little bit not outside of the spiritual realm, but what is actually happening in the world today, the opposing forces, the darker forces, they want you to go for this new age stuff. They want you to be reliant on something outside of yourself. They want you to be disconnected. They want you to be powerless. They want you to feel limited and blocked, and they want you to not be able to do it and be reliant on others, right? So if you're following any of these leads, you're in the wrong place, my friends. I'm telling you, every single time I teach a masterclass, every single time I'm having sessions, I'm straight into, I'm going to guide you, you're going to find the answers from the off. That's always what I'm going to do. All right. Because you all have that. Somebody said to me, another intuitive said to me today, oh, I'd love to hear how you experience your gifts. I said, they're not my gifts. They're God-given. Everyone's got them. They're not my gifts. I'm more practiced than some people. That's it. I told myself I could do it because the God inside of me is all powerful, all seeing, right? And therefore I tapped into it and said, so if that exists inside me, show me. It did every single time, right? So when I hear this nonsense stuff, right? And if you followed me long enough, and some of you might be new to me, the whole thing about apps that tell you what your identity should be, the astrology that determines who you are, the human design that tells you how you should act, the gene keys that mixes the formulas that tells you this is how to do it. I do not subscribe to those. Yes, inherently there may be some traits that are similar, okay? However, the whole reason your soul chose your star sign and chose certain aspects is so you can experience something in a certain way. Your job is to supersede that template, okay? And not have the negative traits of any one of these things, right? So I'm a Gemini. Some of my traits will be I'm indecisive. I change my mind often. I'm inconsistent. I would naturally be very extrovert, and then I'll go introvert. I can adopt any one of those or not. I chose not to. Okay, so I've become more extrovert. Yes, I have quiet times, but I wouldn't say that they are introvert necessarily. I have balance of both, yes, but I've become more extrovert. I'm not inconsistent. I'm consistent, right? I don't have two faces like people say. You know, I may have many sides, but I don't have two faces. I'm aligned and I stay in that truth. Okay, so I could conform to that and I could depend on that, right? To give you an example, I have people that meet men, women that meet men, and the first thing they do is look up the compatibility astrologically, right? Now, if I did that in the relationship I'm in now, I wouldn't have gone for this relationship because according to astrology, I'm not a match for this person, right? Do you know what? We are so aligned, it's ridiculous. He's here to support my soul mission, right? This is why I don't follow any of this kind of stuff. I've talked at length about how the spiritual industry will tell you you're blocked, that you have limiting beliefs, that you have tons of cords, that you have this, that, and the other. The self-help industry that will tell you you're broken, that psychologically that you need years of therapy. I believe none of it. I had 20 years of therapy, okay? Didn't do anything for me, I'm afraid. The moment I went on a spiritual journey, within 6 months, my toxicity was in check. Within 6 months, I had healed abuse. Within 6 months, I'd forgiven my abusers, right? And this started when I was 3 years old and probably earlier, but the earliest recollection I have is 3 years, okay? It's no joke. Spirituality is radical responsibility. It's not a passive experience. So for anyone that's like, oh yeah, I'm just a grid worker, I'm here to keep the energy. Yeah, you probably are, but that's not passive. You still have to be a clean grid worker. You still have to go back and heal your trauma. You still have to do that from the highest vibe. You may not be one of those people that are out there like me, camera, you know, in the face of a camera to people. You might be quietly in the background, but you still have to have the devotion. You still have to have the discipline. It doesn't just come, right? So more and more, even in my group Soul School, I am hearing and seeing people who have lost their daily practices, right? Massive fan of journaling. I've just recorded a video for them to tell them how to journal efficiently. How are you supposed to journal? What does it look like minute by minute? This is how I've done it for 10 minutes. Okay. Why do you have to listen to this to get the nonsense out the way? Why do you have to create space in order for wisdom to come in? Why do you have to have gratitude? How do you channel God? All of that in 10 minutes, right? All of that in 10 minutes. It's really doable. Okay. If you all have it, unless you've sold your soul. Right? You have a soul. That's the spark of God. There is infinite wisdom in there. You just need to listen loudly. And most of you don't know how to listen, right? You don't know how to be in it. And I'm not pointing fingers at all of you. This was me as well. Okay. For a long time, I did not know how to do this. So when someone's going on about, oh yeah, here's my story, and they're not actively teaching you to connect, and if they're selling another aura spray, or if they're selling another crystal, I'm like, come on, let's get real with this. Where is the real connection? Okay. So going to a gong bath, or going to yoga, or going to, have your tarot cards read, or crystals, or a manifesting class, or whatever it is, that's all well and good. That's not real spirituality. Manifestation is projection, right? It's projecting. It's like, I want that thing over there. Meanwhile, my life right here is a mess. I'm on a low vibe. It's chaotic, but I want that thing over there. And I guarantee you 9 out of 10 times that thing over there is a materialistic thing. That's not spirituality, right? So years ago, some of you might know Doreen Virtue, right? She gave up a lot of riches. She simplified her life. She humbled herself by living a simple life. She doesn't use cards. She turned to Jesus, okay? And at the time, I remember thinking, I don't know about this. I'm not sure, but I wasn't very developed in my spirituality. And now I look at that. I'm not a Christian, by the way, and I'm not religious. But what I do know is the essence of humility and simplicity doesn't come from materialism, okay? I care less about the things I wear. I care less. I've got a beautiful home, right? Did I manifest this? I wanted a space that was expansive, and I was given beautiful things to put in here, right? I didn't manifest each individual object. They came. I was like, I'd really love that because it's a thing of beauty. It creates an atmosphere, and I channel here. And do you know what? This is the space I have, a hugely expansive space energetically, all right? But this wasn't a materialistic thing when I was visioning it, right? I wasn't doing that. I was saying, I need somewhere to do my work. Give me that place to become more expansive. And that's what I got. Okay. And funnily enough, it put me on a hill where it's clearer, put me in a wealthy area, which means no 5G because they won't tolerate it. No nonsense, no high speed like super high speed, the highest speed broadband. They've said no to all of that. So in so many ways, I'm protected. I'm on the doorstep of nature. I asked for something expansive. That's alignment. That's not manifestation. That's just alignment, okay? So when you're in the whole manifestation, law of attraction thing, that's not spirituality, right? That's just become so commercialized, that pseudo spirituality. It has nothing, that gratitude doesn't have place in it because you're chasing a materialistic thing. It's an egoic status place to be. So let's talk about ego. Ego is your identity. Ego is, I'm a mother, I'm a sister, I'm a brother, I'm a daughter, whatever it might be. It's also, I'm an intuitive, I'm a CEO, I'm a whatever it is, whatever status title you want to give yourself, okay? It's also, I live in this area. Like I said, I live in a wealthy area, but the relevance of that means that they won't tolerate nonsense, which means it gives me clear, expansive space, okay? I don't care about status. I'm not bothered, right? I live where I live, and that's fine. I've lived in lots of different areas, and they've been equally wonderful, okay? But I don't attach myself to, oh yes, I live in a very posh area. I couldn't care less, right? Then on top of that, you've got things like, I wear a designer label, I have a designer handbag, I have a Rolex watch. That's all ego, right? Can you have spirituality and material things? Yeah, you can, right? If that floats your boat, right? And for many years, I was like, if it's aligned, that's fine. The belief I've been in the last perhaps 2 years has been that I do my work and whatever God wants to provide for me lands. Okay, I don't actively chase after anything designer. I don't actively chase after flashy cars or anything like that, but I do get given a lot of lovely things. All right, I'm not directly manifesting them, they're just landing in my reality. Okay, that's because I'm in my purpose. That's because I'm doing the things that are relative to being spiritual. Okay, and spiritual for some of you isn't always going to be your work. It's a way of being, it's living. Okay, it's how you have humility, it's how you serve. So when I was walking with my friend this morning, when she said, if that's spirituality, I don't want any part of it, I actually said it's about seva. Seva is a word that I use because my background is Indian, Punjabi. Seva means service. My mother was all about it, all about it. She passed me the baton, all about it. You know, I do so much that doesn't involve money, right? So much that doesn't involve money because I want to give, all right? Some of it is attached to money, of course. That's how I live, but it's not excessive because I don't have a need for that. I don't have a need for hundreds of thousands, right? Inherently, is that spiritual? If money is the thing that is ruling the world and controlling the people, is it actually spiritual? Can you transmute it into something spiritual? You can do in your life, but if you're not chasing it and it's a byproduct and it lands in your life, that's a whole other thing, right? From a business perspective, for those that who are in the spiritual business trade or well-being trade industry, yes, of course you set numbers. Yes, of course there is an element of money that you need to live, right? But what I'm saying is there's no excess around that. There's no chasing the money, right? I know what I need to cover my costs, and anything more that comes in is abundance because I have self-devotion, right? So when you are in a situation, when you recognize you are God, you are source energy, you are the universe, you are creator, that all that is, rather than begging, rather than manifesting, rather than envisioning, you command it. You command it. You activate yourselves and command it. My November energy update is coming after this. It's uploading. Okay. I talk about this a little bit in there. The God within you requires you to command that energy. You are the director of energy. You tell the energy what to do. Okay, so those of you that are like, oh yeah, I healed this person and I, you know, we did this. I didn't heal anyone. I'm a healer. I don't heal anyone. I command the energy. I command the godly energy in me to do the work, right? I'm a conduit, right? So you do this in your everyday life. You command it. You command your dormant DNA that's aligned to your highest to awaken, that you know how to be in it, that you know how to work with it, that you can do it fearlessly, that it's easy for you to do. You command it, right? You command your spiritual team, the angels, the people on the other side, the ascended masters to work with you. There is so much emphasis on calling in your guides, so much emphasis. What about the God that lives inside you? What about commanding that to do some stuff, right? Do that first. It's by far the easiest thing, right? On a daily basis, I will stop and say it's commanded to do X, Y, Z, right? All the time, I will do that. I use my angels and my guides, but I don't even use them that much. You do have a spiritual team, but the biggest power exists here. And that's why people say you're the light. The light is here, right? So you can command all sorts of things, but in order for that command to become true means you have to do the action that mirrors that. Okay. So for instance, a long time ago, I wanted to be able to speak effortlessly on camera, and my throat chakra was really blocked. I had non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. I had a tumor removed, and that was my sign to speak up. Okay. So as I was learning to speak up, I actually, there were a few people that I really admired as speakers. So I remember in that day, because I knew it was part of my purpose to speak up and to share wisdom, but I wanted to articulate it to the best I could, right? So I had those, I think it was 2 or 3 speakers in my mind, and I said, it's commanded for me to activate all of my dormant DNA that's in line with my highest purpose of speaking, that does it beautifully, and these people are the example. My version, can I have my version of these? It's commanded to receive that now. Then I picked up a camera. Within minutes, I was speaking concisely, right? Within minutes, I was doing it fearlessly. Within minutes, I was putting videos out. I'd never done them before. It takes courage. It takes fearlessness. It takes you to get over yourself. There's nothing blocking you doing it, okay? There's nothing stopping you but you. The more you believe there's a limited belief, the more there will be. That's not how it works. So all of these people that going, oh yeah, you know, I help you remove all of your limited beliefs on XYZ, they do this work, and I guarantee majority of people do not step out and still do it. I've worked with so many people where all I did was energy work and then they wouldn't move forward. So now my channel always says is, we've done this work now and I'm working with someone, I will say to that person, now you're going to find what you need to do. So they're channeling with me when we have sessions, right? And they receive the wisdom of the next physical steps you need to do. That's devotion. Okay. It doesn't live up here. Devotion lives in action. Okay. Energy in motion. That's where it lives. That's where spirituality lives. Okay. So anything that is out that you're using outside of yourself. So if you are using the oracle cards, the tarot cards, if you know, relying on a pendulum, I'm not going to say to you it's wrong. You have to find your own way with it. What I'm saying to you is anything you rely on outside of yourself is denying your own godly power, right? You're handing it over to that thing. I'm wearing a crystal today to heal me because I can't do it. I'm using a pendulum to give me the answer because I can't do it, right? So for those of you that use a pendulum, you can use a sway test, which is kinesiology. And the kinesiology, your body telling you this is right, this is wrong. You're using your own body to do it, okay? You don't need to pull a card to validate, oh, yeah, you know, my love is coming, or I need to rest. Oh, yeah, this is happening. You don't need that. You already know it. It's like you're not believing it. That's where the problem lies, okay? So I just want to say something about being misled, okay? And I'm going to use the example of Noah and Noah's Ark. I'm not Christian. My Council of 12 includes Jesus, Mother Mary, Mary Magdalene, okay? Featured heavily in the Bible, as we know. And I'm often given passages, references to the Bible because the story tells itself, okay? And today, well, not today, it was in a session with someone else, this came up, who is a Christian, okay? And he translated it well for me. Now, there's an analogy at the moment saying, watch the waters, watch the waters. There's lots of intuitives have been saying, watch the waters, because they feel like the water level is coming up, right? And of course, I saw something around that line too. But this week, the channel said to me, watch the waters, the tide is changing, meaning watching the waters rising is when Noah he knew that something was coming and he built his ark and he put the message out and said, come onto the ark, okay? It's the equivalent of what I'm saying. I'm saying there is an opposing force out there that's pushing agendas on your children, on you, letting you believe that celebrities and these modalities are what you need for spirituality, and it's not. I can 100% assure you it's not. Anyone who's worth their salt in the spirituality world sits under the radar. They're not making multi-millions because it's not part of the what spirituality is, okay? That's not how it works. And you can find your own truth about that. I just know that because I feel it in every ounce of my body, okay? So what was happening was Noah was saying, come onto the ark, okay, because the waters are coming, we're going to be flooded, right? Now, you can use this analogy with anything, but the way that I was hearing it is the people that are distracted, who are out partying, the ones that are not dedicating devotion, okay, that are not saying to themselves, I want this, okay? I'm going to be the channel, I'm going to be the spiritual person. And by the way, spirituality does not have to be boring. I do not lead a boring life. I have a lot of fun, but it is about the devotion, and it is about being present in your actions, and it is about recognizing what you do, okay? And why you do that, and really being present in that, and not flying off the handle, and not shooting your mouth off, and not gossiping. It's about, how can I be more loving? Right? How can I do that? How can I step out of the narrative of I need something outside of myself to make myself feel better? I need to sabotage or whatever it is. I need a crutch. I need something extra. Okay. So imagine getting onto Noah's Ark, because you're going to go on this ark and you're going to have self-devotion. And then the floods come. Okay. The floods, say that's a representation of the misleading forces that are around us. That's going to swallow up everyone else that is not practicing that devotion. Okay. And that looks like alcoholism. That looks like drug taking. That looks like abandoning yourself in sex. That looks like social media as a distraction. That looks like sabotaging, overeating. That looks like a lot of different things, right? When you're overeating, you are not in devotion. Right? When you're undereating, you're not in devotion. When you're having reckless sex, you're not in devotion. You don't honor yourself. You're not honoring the God. You're abusing the God inside of you. Meanwhile, looking up to God saying, why is my life such a mess? Right? That's simply how it works. Okay. So when I was hearing the tides are turning, it's an opportunity for you to simplify life. It's an opportunity for you to do things differently. Now, I wrote in a recent blog, the reason some of you guys won't do this is you consider it too simple and too boring. Okay, you're looking for a dramatic something to happen. You want to go into a past life, or you want to astral travel, you want to look at your future self. All good things to do, right? Doesn't sort out the issue right here, does it? So when you are not doing the simplest of things, to give an example, when I have sessions with people, they'll always say to me, what else can I do? What else can I do? And I'm like, isn't what I've given you enough? It's too simple. They jump over the simple thing and they're like, what else can I do? I'm like, I'm giving you the channeled thing that you're told to do. So probably 2 years ago, that I think this was, I did a class called Intuitive Planning, which basically allows you to prophesize for yourself, to see what's coming up for yourself, which I'm probably going to rerun. And this is giving you the power to see what you are going to do in your future and how you're going to do it. Now, what was really interesting is when I said, what do you need to do now to make that outcome real? Everyone got amazing things. You know what mine was? Meditate. And I was like, really? Like, why has everyone got great things and I've got meditate? It's because I'd gone through a period of serving others and I'd forgotten the devotion to self, right? Put your own oxygen mask on before you serve someone else, okay? So it was really important to listen to the simple things. The reason you stop doing them is because they're working. Don't stop doing them. They need to be practiced every single day. Devotion just doesn't happen once a week. It happens daily. It happens several times a day. Just to quote the soulmate class I did on Sunday, I said to the women, who wants the highest union? What does the highest union look like? Do you want that? And then I said, have you got space for it? Like, what are you doing? Are you moving like main character energy, like queen energy? Or have you got backstage energy? And actually everyone there kind of had backstage energy. They weren't moving in the queen divine energy. And then you cannot have the highest union. It requires self-devotion. It requires discipline, whether it be the highest union in your soulmate, whether it's doing your purpose, whether it's reaching people, okay? I've often said I'm not into a numbers game, okay? So I can see the numbers going up and down here. There's only a handful of you on here. That's all that matters to me, right? I don't care about the likes. I don't care about how many people I reach. I just care that the vibration of this message is out there. And hopefully the people that are on here will listen and implement this in their own lives, okay? So how can you do it? How can you help yourself to not be caught up in external things, right? How can you do that? Have a daily practice. Have a daily practice. I'm going to share with you what I shared with my girls on Soul School, okay? Have a timed journaling practice, okay? Because what you do with that is, one, you create intuition on demand. 2, you create a connection to your body. 3, you listen to the God inside you, okay? And then the final thing is that you act upon what you're given, right? I guarantee you the amount of people I share this with, there'll probably only be about 5% that will do it and do it regularly, right? What I do know with the people that do it regularly, they do not struggle as much. They're very intuitive. They feel very aligned. The things that they need to heal are done instantly. Their activations are happening regularly. They're making quantum leaps. They're shifting. They're shedding. And they're doing it painlessly. They're not always falling apart, okay? So with your journaling, you want to set a timer, okay? Your first 3 to 4 minutes is all about putting the nonsense that's going on in your head, anything that's ruminating. So this is something that's bothering you, something you're worried about, something that you're like, how do I solve this? Something is keeping you up at night. Your first 3 to 4 minutes is just this. Time it, okay? Your next couple of minutes is gratitude, okay? It's all gratitude. And it's not, oh, I'm really grateful to be alive. I'm really grateful to have food on the table. No, gratitude for what you feel today. Today, I have gratitude for the fact that I went on a walk with a friend who triggered this. Otherwise, I wouldn't be alive today. That's what I have gratitude for her bringing up something that I felt very aligned to, okay? Then set an intention, okay? If you have a meeting, if you have an experience that you're going to go to, if you've got to do something that's slightly uncomfortable, set the intention of how you want it to flow, okay? And then the final few minutes is for you to listen loudly. Listen to the words that come from within, okay? You can say, what is it I need to know today? What is it I need to action today? What is there something that that I need to look at today? Look at in my behavior, in my thoughts, whatever it is. And then I want you to write that down. Every single day when I channel, the last couple of sentences is my guidance for the day, right? You know what you need to do, right? You know because you've been given it. You've let the nonsense out, so there's space for more intuition to land. You are giving gratitude, thanks for what you have, because when you acknowledge what you have, more will always arrive. You set an intention because you're telling energy, this is how I want to command my day. This is what I want to happen in my day, okay? This is how I want things to materialize. This is how I want to feel in the day. And then you've got your channeled words. Now, if you struggle to do this, just start with just mind dumping for 10 minutes. Do that every single day until you cannot fulfill 10 minutes, and then go on to this practice. Because what you're doing is you're tending to self. You're devoting to yourself. You're saying, I'm giving you a voice. I'm acknowledging it by writing it down. I'm hearing you and I'm going to act upon it. This is your God voice. This is your internal gut instinct. This is your soul speaking, okay? So do that. That's what spirituality looks like. Then you can go off and have a gong bath and a yoga, whatever you want to do, okay? But make a practice of self-acknowledgement for devotion to self, and feed that self. Make sure that you're nurturing that self, because no one else is going to do it, doing it for you. No one's going to do that. Let me know what you think about this. Let me know if you do have crutches. Let me know if you are reliant on cards or pendulums or anything like that. There's no judgment on it. There's no judgment from my perspective. What I am saying to you is I've come through that, and I've not picked anything up for a long time, okay? Because I do believe it all exists inside of me. I remember using it on Instagram a while ago, and it was merely a prop because I knew I could bring people into my world through that way. But that I was selling myself out to commercialism, and I don't want to do that. I don't want to be commercial. I don't want to be like everyone else. It's the reason why I channeled my business name, which is Spiritual Rebel. I'm spiritual and I'm rebellious, and you have to be a little bit rebellious to be spiritual, because you're saying, I don't want to step into what everyone else is doing. I want to step out and do the things that feel aligned, because I'm listening loudly to the God voice inside me. And when you do that, you find the healer within you. You won't need to go to healers for guidance or healing, okay? You won't need to go to someone like me because you practiced it well, okay? You will activate your own energy. You will command your own energy into areas that help you to fulfill the things that you want to do. Remember, you're the commander of the God inside you, the cells inside you, okay? And you will be manifesting, right? And I don't mean the materialism. I mean you're manifesting the vibration at which you want to be at, and the material aspects arrive, okay? That everything around us is an illusion, and the illusion is reflected upon your current state of being. So if you are rich in self, the riches arrive, okay? And if you are devoted to yourself, you will receive devotion. When I said to the girls on Sunday about their soulmate thing, I said, how many of you are ready to come off the dating apps to just sit and mindlessly scroll, right? To be disconnected and be in that negative energy? How many of you are ready to stop having casual sex? How many of you are ready to hold a container? How many of you are ready to behave in a way that a divine union comes in and you know it's the highest, right? That it humbles you daily and it brings you into a place of humility where you know it's clean energy. I, as a healer, have been working on myself for 12 years now. Lots of self-development before that, but actively spiritually working on myself for 12 years, okay? And what I do know is we can all spout knowledge, but when it comes from a lived experience, one that you're embodying because you are walking from a place of truth, that becomes very, very different. It's very, very different. So previously I've, done soulmate classes from experience, but not necessarily from I've experienced not even my most compatible, not even my twin flame. I'm talking about the highest of highest serving soulmate unions that has no expectation and is purely unconditional. I had to learn how to be that. I'm living that right now, okay? And that's the level of unconditionalness you need to show to yourself, and that is spiritual. Anything else, it's not spirituality, and I don't want any part of it. So that's where I'm going to end today. I feel like I've just got overexcited, but the channel needed to get all of this out. And no surprise, it took me a couple of attempts to get on here because I know when there's a meaningful message to come out, I get blocked a little bit from technology. But there it is. If you want to find, connect, be in your true self, if you are that person that wants to understand what the alignment is and wants to get into the flow of this energetically, I have a free masterclass. When this goes up, I shall put the link underneath, okay? Come join me. It's going to cost you nothing but your time and your investment of time, and hopefully your action that follows through with it. Okay. Thank you so much for being live with me. I really, really appreciate you. And I hope that you've got something out of this and it struck some chords. And I know it's repetitive. I know I've said this many times. Channels like, don't stop talking about it. Keep talking about it. I've been talking about this for the last 2.5 years. It looks like it's not stopping anytime soon. This applies to anyone on their spiritual journey, by the way. Doesn't matter how long you've been in the spiritual world, okay? We came in with nothing, we leave with nothing. And if you can learn to live in between with nothing, that's where the magic is, because you are always, always provided for. I love you very much. Thank you for your time and being with me. And I hope that you will join me next time. The energy update is following after this very shortly. Lots of love.